Hello, how you doing? Welcome back to another video on my channel. It's another day, it's another video. Sorry there wasn't one yesterday, but we're back today with another one. And this one, I'm ranking the Premier League's nicknames. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe. If you're new here, subscriber numbers are going up, which is great. Like the video, comment below with your thoughts on your team's nickname and my list when I get into it. And join my Patreon, where a couple of quid a month, you can help grow the channel and get rewards in return. So, let's get into it. This video was suggested by Adams5116 in my comments for Monday's video. Thanks for the suggestion. And he said that his team Liverpool might be near the bottom with their nickname the Reds. We'll get into it right now and you'll find out, Adam. So, ranking the Premier League mascot, starting at number 20 with Fulham, aka the Cottagers. Sorry, Fulham fans, I know you've got loads of history in a lovely old little ground called Craven Cottage, but the nickname the Cottagers is just not good. It's terrible. Obviously, it's named after the ground Craven Cottage, which is named after the little thatched cottage in the corner that was built by someone called Lord Cottage. Also a terrible name. But that's why it's Craven Cottage, and that's why Fulham are the Cottagers. But it's just not a cool name. Sorry, guys. So you are 20th. In 19th, it's Brighton with the Seagulls. You didn't think I was going to put Brighton that high up the table, did you? Yes, the Seagulls is Brighton's nickname. Named, some would say, because there's seagulls in Brighton and they're a part of it. But Palace fans know the real story. It's that after Palace changed to the Eagles in the late 70s, Brighton fans, who were called the Dolphins at the time, which, let's be honest, is a great nickname, much better, decided to change theirs from the Dolphins to Seagulls, because Palace fans would chant Eagles, Eagles, and so Brighton fans would start chanting Seagulls, Seagulls at games, and then it became a thing. So, but unfortunately, it is a terrible nickname. Seagulls are one of the worst animals out there. No one likes them. So unfortunately, Brighton fans, you are 19th. In 18th, it's Man United and Red Devils. Aside from the fact this is a very boring nickname and is used by lots of other clubs across the world as well, so it's not unique. This was also stolen because Matt Busby stole it from a rugby team based in Salford in the 30s who were called the Red Devils because of their red shirt. So not only is it stolen, it's also a terrible nickname. So sorry, Man United fans, but Red Devils, it's just not that inspiring, unfortunately. But there you go, 18th for Man United. In 17th position, it won't surprise you then that Adam's right. Liverpool are in 18th for me. Various nicknames. The Reds, as Adam has said. Also the Liverbirds. I don't mind Liverbirds. I think that's quite cool, and there's a real link to the city, so that's why I put them a little bit higher up than bottom. But the Reds, very, very uninspiring nickname. So sorry, Liverpool fans, but yeah, you're down there with United too. In 16th place, we've got Tottenham, who are Spurs or the Lily Whites. Again, quite uninspiring choices. They're Lily Whites because of their lily white shirts, and Spurs because of Tottenham Hotspur. That's about it. Again, not much thought's gone into that one, unfortunately. Not real any link to anything historically or around the... Who knows? You can do better, Spurs. You can do better, Spurs. Sorry, but you're in 16th. In 15th position, it's Chelsea with the Lions. Now, I couldn't really find out much about this, apart from the fact that there's a lion on their badge. I don't know what came first, but I'd imagine that's why they're called the Lions. Also called the Blues, pretty uninspiring. I thought one of their nicknames was Chelsea Pensioners, but it turns out that's not an official nickname at all. That's just a group linked to Chelsea, I think. That would be much cooler in my eyes if they were called the Chelsea Pensioners, but no, they're the Blues or the Lions. Pretty uninspiring, pretty dull. Not a fan of it. Sorry, Chelsea fans. Into 14th, and we've got Burnley, the Clarets. Again, not that inspiring based on the colour of the shirt, but it's a bit different. I quite like it, you know. And also the thought of a claret, nice glass of red wine. I mean, it makes me feel relaxed. It makes me feel happy. So that's why Burnley are a little bit higher up the table. But when it comes to kind of inspiration, pretty straightforward for Burnley and the Clarets. But I can't think of any other teams that have that nickname, so that does win them some points. In 13th position is Brentford, the Bees. Now, I had to do a bit of research into this one because I thought maybe based on their kit, but their kit isn't bee colours, black or yellow. So it turns out they're called the Bees because of a mishearing. So originally, I think it was students from around the time were saying, come on the Bees, as in bee, birth for Brentford, and people misheard that as bees, as in buzzing bees, and they became the Bees. So I quite like that as a story. It does mean that their whole nickname is based on a lie, but I don't mind it. It's pretty cool. They do share it with other teams. Of course, unfortunately, it's not unique, but quite a cool little story. So yeah, Brentford, you're in, what are we now? 13th. In 12th position, West Ham United, aka the Hammers. I did have West Ham much higher on the table until a last second change when I realised that I'd been criticising Chelsea's badge or nickname for just coming from the badge, and that's pretty much what West Ham's is too. The two hammers on the badge, aka the Hammers. I think there's probably a bit more history to it than the Chelsea one, so that's why I've got them a bit higher at the table. I don't mind it, you know. West Ham fans give all that. It's quite cool to have a, you know, Palace fans could just sort of flap their arms. Not as cool. But yeah, sorry, West Ham fans, you were going to be much higher, but a last-minute, literally like top 4, but last-minute decision, you are further down the table. I've probably been a bit unfair here, have I? Let me know in the comments. But at least you haven't just called yourselves the Clarets. Into 11th place, I think now, and it's Nottingham Forest. Perhaps in retrospect, might have got this one a bit too low because they got some interesting names. They are the Reds, which loses them points. The Tricky Trees, don't mind that, but feels a bit sort of 70s, maybe not as modern. And then the Garibaldi. Now, if you go to Forest away to the City Ground, you'll see there's a big sign saying the Garibaldi that we all wear. I had to do some research into this. That is the colour of the red, I believe, that they wear. And I quite like that, so that's why they're a little bit further up the table. But if they were just the Reds, they'd have been much further down the bottom. But yeah, Forest in 11th, or the Garibaldis. Also makes me think of biscuits, and they are quite nice biscuits as well. In 10th place, I've got Bournemouth, the Cherries. I probably should have gone a bit lower this one because it is literally just because they wear cherry red. And I know they change sometimes, and sometimes they're currently in black and red stripes, but they used to have a sort of brighter red on their shirt. And that's it. I thought there was a cooler nickname behind it. Maybe there was a cherry tree that grew behind Dean Court. No, it's just because they're red. So Bournemouth, you're in 10th, but in hindsight, I think you're a bit lucky to be there. In 9th, it's Newcastle, aka the Magpies. Again, just based on the colour of the shirt, but I feel like the Magpies quite an iconic nickname. So that's why Newcastle are a bit higher up. I know Notts County share the Magpies as well, but I feel like Newcastle really own that one. So yeah, they're a bit high up, but it is just basically based on the colour of the shirt. In 8th position, it's Wolverhampton Wanderers and the Wolves. I mean, it's just a play on Wolverhampton, I'm guessing. So, but again, quite iconic. You know, when you think of Wolves, you think straight to Wolverhampton Wanderers. So that's why I've got them a bit higher in the table, but I may have been a bit generous here to Wolves. In 7th, they've got Man City and Citizens. Now, this is a play on Man City, Citizens. I quite like it. I know sometimes that's called the Sky Blues, I think, but Citizens is quite cool. Clever little pun. I don't mind it. Quite basic, but you know what? I'm going to give them points for the pun. So fair play. And I like the fact they've spelled it Citizens with a Y. That makes it Man City themed. I like it. Well done, City. In 6th position, we've got Aston Villa, sometimes called the Lions, as we did with their mascot yesterday, but also sometimes called the Villains. And again, little play on the words, the Villains, aka Aston Villa. Again, it's spelt without the extra I, Villains. I quite like it. So fair play, Villa. You know, whenever I even hear the word villains now, I think of Aston Villa. So I'd say it's pretty strong branding. So Villa, you're in 6th. Into 5th position, and it's Crystal Palace, aka the Eagles. We weren't always called the Eagles. It used to be called the Glaziers, which is because the original team built the Crystal Palace back in the 1860s. I'd have loved that as a nickname. It was rebranded in the 70s by Malcolm Allison to Eagles. But again, I think it's pretty unique to Palace. No other team in England called themselves the Eagles. We even had a live eagle, or used to, that flew around the pitch. And the Eagles are probably the coolest animal out there, so that's why Palace are in 5th. In 4th, it's Arsenal, aka the Gunners. And as we all know, the Gunners comes from the fact that where they originally were based in Greenwich, there was a big artillery production factory thing there. So that's why they're the Gunners. They're the only Gunners in the UK. They've always had it on their badge. It's very strong, very consistent. I really like it. I think it's quite a cool nickname as well. So yeah. The Gunners are in 4th. In 3rd, it's Sheffield United, the Blades. Another cool nickname. And originally, it turns out, Blades was named for any team from Sheffield originally back in the day. But the Blades kept it. Sheffield Wednesday went with the Owls instead. Not as cool. But the Blades, you know, it's a threatening kind of word and name. I think it's cool. It's pretty unique to Sheffield Wednesday United. Whoops. So yeah, fair play, Blades fans. You're in 3rd. Into 2nd place, only got 2 teams left now. Have you kept up with who we've mentioned, who we haven't? It's Luton Town with the Hatters. And again, I like this one because it's a nickname that's linked to the area of Luton, obviously known for making hats. They called themselves the Hatters. It's pretty unique. Obviously, we did the mascots before. They're obviously got hats on them as well. I like it. It's even something, if you're a fan of the team, you could just wear a hat. You know, it's quite nice. You know, Sheffield United fans can't really carry a blade. But if you're a Luton fan, you can wear a hat. You know, it's fun, it's inclusive, and it's unique. So fair play. And which means in number 1 spot, it's the Toffees, aka Everton. Yeah, I'd say this is probably the most iconic nickname. They got the name because of two toffee shops that were from the area of Merseyside where Everton were formed. Again, so it's linked to the area. It's pretty unique. Toffees are great. Again, like Luton fans, you can just bring toffees to the game and eat them. Absolutely love it. And, you know, Everton are a traditional club, so it ties into that. So there you go, Everton, you're number one. There you go. Did you like my list? Did you disagree? Where did your team come? Let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new here. And join my Patreon for a couple of quid a month. You can help the channel grow and get rewards in return. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Looking forward to it. Hope to see you then.